Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond Life Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Russell Reynolds. My guests are running a little behind schedule tonight. They are currently at the Penhurst Paracon, so they're currently getting logged in. They're at the hotel that they're staying at, and the internet there is giving them trouble. So I'm going to go ahead and start the show. I'll introduce them. My guests tonight are the Long Island Paranormal Investigators. I met them at the Warrens Paracon, and pretty good team. They've been doing this over 20 years, it looks like, and they are seasoned investigators. Very cool bunch of group to meet. If you're at the Penhurst Paracon, make sure you stop by their booth and check them out. And they're just an awesome team to talk to. And without further ado, they're in. So I am going to bring them on. Please welcome my guest, Long Island Paranormal Investigator.
How you doing?
How's it
Good.
going?
Hey, guys. Welcome to the show.
Sorry for the delay. We're having some hotel technical difficulties.
Oh, that's all right. I know how them hotel internet is. I've done podcasts from hotels before. So, so tell my audience a little bit about yourselves. I kind of introduced you before you guys got on a little bit.
Sure. I'm Mike Carnuto. I'm the founder of Long Island Paranormal Investigators. We've been doing this for a little over 22 years now. We started out in 2003. We started out as a dare. We were all just hanging out as friends, playing hockey, and we started talking about different urban legends of Long Island. And I dared two of my friends to go into one of the local abandoned psychiatric centers, Kings Park Psych Center. They went in there,
Oh,
got some cool experiences, and we've just been doing it ever since.
I know that place very well. I grew up in New York, so I know where you're talking about.
Yep.
And for me, my name's Tom O'Connell. I'm actually the case manager for the group. I've been with the group for over 7 years now, and I've always been into the paranormal my whole life. So when the opportunity came up, and I saw LIPI was hiring, I'm like, I'll go check that out. Not thinking it was a real thing, and went down, interviewed, met the team, and I guess they liked me and brought me on, and I couldn't believe it when it happened, and 7 years later, here I am, still loving every minute of it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what makes the team good. If you're loving what you're doing, that makes the team awesome.
Absolutely.
So, I saw you guys are at the Penhurst Paracon this year.
Yep.
So yeah, it's one of our favorite events that we've done in recent years. You know, Paracons tend to be hit or miss. This one is one of the better ones as far as how it's run and the guests that they have and the panels and the vendors, and and honestly, I can say it gets better every year. So I'm not just saying that to praise them. I mean, it really has, as we've been coming each. They're taking whatever they did the year before and fixing what wasn't great and making it better. And
That's
it's one I know personally I look forward to every year.
Yeah, I saw one of my friends is there, that's friends of my cousin's, and, she's a doll maker, Pen Paranormal. She took a
Oh yeah.
picture of the
Oh yeah,
line, and I saw the line was long.
Hmm.
yeah, we know those guys actually. We've hung out with them a few times at this event and others. They're a fun group.
Yeah, I was telling my audience I met you guys at the Warrens Paracon last September in Gettysburg.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's a shame they're not doing it again this year, but we're all did you guys sign up for the Rock Island one?
No,
Nah, we haven't signed up for that one.
We're all gonna be at the Rock Island Paracon in October.
Where's that at?
It's in Illinois,
Illinois.
okay.
Yeah.
the haunted Rock Island Roadhouse.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's gonna be probably over 100 vendors there.
Wow.
Yeah, we were talking about WarrenCon earlier, and we know they're currently doing the road show with Annabelle right now.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we were wondering what that means for the future of the actual Paracon. So sounds like this year
As
it's kind of where
far as I know, they were taking a break this year, and I think they're gonna do it again next year.
So yeah, that's always a fun one too.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
definitely.
we're gonna be in Gettysburg with them here in July with Annabelle.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Is that
They're doing
for the Battlefield Dash?
no, they're doing the Ghostly Images of Gettysburg. They're doing the
Oh,
orphanage and the Jenny Wade house. You get to investigate it with Annabelle.
hmm.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Nice, nice.
Yeah, they're already sold out for that.
I can imagine. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Sold out
That's
quick.
cool.
It's bringing a few different paranormal worlds together, so that should be interesting.
Oh yeah, especially Annabelle. Everybody loves Annabelle.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the craziest experiences you guys had? Because I know you guys been doing it a long time, like I have. So, I'm sure you guys got stories.
Yeah, we got a ton of stories. I'd say one of our cooler sites that we investigate is called Mount Misery Road in like the Huntington Melville area. Um, we've been investigating that for years. What we do as a group, every investigation that we go on, we fill out a field report documenting like all the equipment that went out. We log all the readings that we captured, whether it's paranormal or not. We log all the data, and we have case files for every single site that we investigate. So this particular place, back in I want to say the 70s, there was supposedly demonic rituals being done like in the woods, and we started to investigate. And we started capturing some pretty weird evidence. Like one of the things was we had a group of four, and as we start walking in, one of us smelled like a sulfur rotten
Mm,
egg smell, but only one person smelt it. The other three didn't. And then a couple minutes would go by, and then one other person would start to smell it, and nobody else did. So it's like one of the characteristics of like a demonic haunting. So we kept going with the investigation, and towards the end, our psychic picked up a name and she saw something like scurrying on the ground and she pointed at it. And I didn't see anything, but one of the other investigators thought he saw something as well. And he walked over and pointed. He said, "I think I see what you're saying." So we wrapped up the investigation. We go back to our office, and I separated them and had them both draw what they saw. And the
mm,
drawings matched about 90%. So then what I did was I ran the name that she picked up through our demonology database, and sure enough, it was a demon name. And we did a little bit of research on it and found out that what this thing looks like matches their drawings. So we went back a week later, and the same things were happening. We caught a bunch of audio evidence, EVPs, and stuff. So, and we've been probably investigating that site for I want to say well over like 12 years now. And after doing multiple investigations each year, we started figuring out there was a pattern to what's happening there and when it's happening. So usually it's like the second or third week in September. This is when you're going to guarantee go there and get evidence. And it's
right.
like pretty crazy. Like we were able to document that. That's probably one of our craziest cases that we've been on. That place, you get some weird stuff happening. It's wild. Even during the daytime, we had an experience there. We were just doing like B-roll filming, and it's so hard to explain it because like we were heading out on the pathway, and probably in the distance, I would say maybe about 30-35 yards from us, I was looking straight down the pathway, and my other investigator, he was looking down, fiddling with the camera, like turning it off as we were walking. And I see this green translucent being, whatever you want to call it. It was crossing the pathway, and it kind of like as I looked at it, I started to black out. And I was just like, whoa. And he said the same thing the same time. And I was like, are you blacking out too? He's like, yeah. I was like, did you see what I saw? And he's like, what did you see? And I told him. He's like, no. So we kind of
Mm,
came to, and as we walked out, we were trying to see if there was any footprints on the ground or anything. We didn't see anything, but it was just a weird experience. That was, right during the daytime, so it was pretty cool, pretty wild. I
yeah,
don't know if
that's
you had.
awesome when you can experience it during the day.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I mean, for Mount Misery specifically, my weirdest experience was we were in one night, and when we go there, we park kind of out by the road, and then we walk into the trail. We were walking in kind of single file, everyone's keeping quiet, and I was actually walking in behind Mike, and I was walking 5 6 feet behind him, and we're walking in, and all of a sudden, Mike, we'll call him, stops dead in his tracks, so much so that I almost walk into the back of him. And I stop, like, what just happened? I take my flashlight, I go to shine it on him to see what's going on. And Mike, actual Mike, is about 20 or 30 feet ahead of me now. So whatever was walking in front of me that I thought was Mike was not actually Mike, and stopped short. And I was with another investigator who saw exactly the same thing. We both thought, we were walking right behind Mike, and it turns out it was not. We don't know who or what it was. We just know who it wasn't.
Right. Yeah, I had something similar to like that at Waverly, where we had a figure come running at us.
Hmm.
It was just a white mist, and it come running and blow right in between us,
Wow,
Wow.
that's pretty cool.
and then just
That's a,
disappear.
that's a spot we haven't done yet. That I think
Yeah.
we'd love to get in there some point, but I know
No,
it's a
it's actually a must do place. I mean, it. My suggestion is get it for 2 nights because you can't cover it in one.
oh wow.
Really? Okay.
That's how
Okay.
big it is.
Yeah.
We we got invited. We went one for one night, and we didn't cover nearly as much of that place that we wanted to.
Yeah, especially I mean for us, that's a pretty good hike. So if
Oh
we're
yeah.
gonna do it two nights and make it more worth it while than one night
Yeah,
anyway. So
yeah. It's definitely it lives up to its name, most haunted place in America.
That's crazy. Yeah, we did last summer we did West Virginia Penitentiary.
Okay. Yep.
And it's one on the top 5 most haunted places in America, and I try to tell my team when we go into these places, like, kick all that aside, go in there with an open mind, otherwise you're gonna freak yourself out. It's not necessarily haunted because of that, like you're freaking yourself out, so we
Exactly.
were trying to get the data. And for what that place was worth, it was cool. We got some really cool evidence, but for me, like my whole team, we had how many did we have? 12 of
it's a
us.
big group, yeah.
And at the end of the investigation, the last like 30 minutes, we all did solos. And we kind of did it like Destination Fear style, where we put all the different locations in a hat and people pulled the location that we're staying in. Quite a few of our investigators, one of her named Christina, she was like fairly new. She was maybe 8 months in,
Yeah, very new.
under 30 investigations, and she's going to do Sugar Shack by herself. And she was just like freaked out. She was like, "Holy shit! Like, are you
Oh
serious?" I
yeah.
was like, "Fine, just go down there and do your thing," like. And she did it. Everyone did their solos all over. We scattered around, and that was pretty cool. We definitely got some cool evidence, had some cool experiences, but I wouldn't say it's one of the most haunted. I mean, at least when we
Right.
were there, it's where we like to go back to places too multiple times. You can never tell a location from just going there once. You know, um, just because a place is haunted or one of the most haunted doesn't mean it happens every single day. So people don't really understand. It's like they see the stuff on TV, they hear the experiences, and then they go there and they're like, nothing happened. I'm like, it happens. So
Yeah.
I think the
Waverly's
scary
like
thing there
that
with the
too.
street. Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
Waverly's like that too. It's hit or miss.
sure, sure.
I thought the scariest thing at West Virginia and Sugar Shack specifically were the
The
bats.
bats. Yeah, the bats.
We were in there and bats were dive bombing, like
Yeah.
literally dive bombing us
Oh,
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
they seem to love our equipment for some reason. All that
yeah.
frequency we're putting out with them EMF detectors, and we've had that at
Definitely.
Waverly. Down, they were dive bombing us in the hallway. Missouri State Penitentiary down in the dungeon. We've had it down there.
Hmm. And I mean, you're in an enclosed space, so nowhere to really go. You got bats flying at your head. It's
I got them on film where one girl was standing there that was with us, and she had a red spotlight on, and the bat was swooping her head, and I was like, "Turn that red light off.
yeah,
You're drawing
Yeah.
it right to your head."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
We had some good audio from that. Definitely a lot of not suitable for the workplace words coming out that night. Every time a bat flew, within a couple inches of my head.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I've had nights like that. I can imagine, especially like Missouri State. You get that as well too. not so nice words because of the bats and
Nice. That's cool. That's cool.
but that place is just like West Virginia, it's hit or miss. It's always something different every time you go. You never know
Well, it's
what
like
you're gonna come across in there.
at Penhurst. I mean, we've actually investigated Penhurst twice.
Yeah.
The first time it was very active. We got a lot of good, we got a little of everything: personal experiences, EVPs, photos, and then the second time we came, it was relatively quiet. I think we got a few little things, but
Mhm.
so and we were actually talking about this earlier. How it's interesting, when you investigate the same place more than once, when something doesn't happen, it almost makes it better because it makes the fact that it did
Yep,
happen the first time,
Right.
it validates what you had. Whereas if you go
yep,
there and the same thing happens every time, you're going to question yourself. Other people are going to question you. But if you go one time and it's super active, and another time it's not, it lends credibility to what did happen the first time you went.
yep. And Waverly was like that too. That team that invited us did it the night before. They didn't really experience or capture anything. We go the next night, and it's like everybody wants to come out and play all of a sudden.
Hmm.
Nice.
Plus, we got hit with a thunderstorm just as we started off, so that
Oh,
kinda
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
That's cool. Nice.
and I had my one personal experience that I'll never forget there was I got pinned to the surgery table on the 4th floor.
Oh, wow.
We did a little bit of role playing, and I was acting like I was sick and we needed a doctor, and I had one of my members yelling, "Hey, we need a doctor in here, we're gonna lose him," and we had a motion light sitting in the doorway, the motion light kicks on. I hear a noise, so I go to sit up, and it was like somebody was just pushing right against my chest, had my arms
Wow.
restrained, my
Wow.
leg, and then we hear 2 loud female screams right outside the door in the hallway.
Oof. Yeah, that's an experience.
And we ended up confirming that the other team was out on the up on the 5th floor, out on the roof doing an Estes method, so they were
Wow.
nowhere around our location. That was the whole other end of the building where they were.
Interesting.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Hi. Do you know where the gym
Oh,
is?
not here. Sorry. Sorry about that. we we had a visitor.
It's a live one, guys, don't think it's a ghost.
That's
Yeah,
right.
right.
Oh man, we could have played that up.
Yeah, right.
Right? But, have you guys ever done, like, Missouri State or anything? Have you been out to Missouri yet or anything for anything?
Nah, we're obviously we're based in Long Island, so we try to keep it within somewhat of a range for driving and stuff. Flying, we have so much equipment that we bring, so trying to fly somewhere with all that would be an absolute nightmare. So
Right?
we usually try to keep it within like a 6 to 8 hour range of driving. Like this upcoming summer, we're doing Trans Allegheny. It's about 8.5 hour drive from us. We did that about I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. So we're going back a second time to see if we can capture some stuff. Quite a lot of photography when we were there, believe it or not, which is odd to me because photography it's like one in every 3,000 photos you take, you actually capture
Yep,
something that's legit. And
yep.
we caught some really cool stuff that I want to try to recreate while we're there and see if what we captured the first time is legit or not. So
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because I mean, nowadays with digital photos, it's easy to pick up dust with them now than what you could do with a 35 millimeter.
right, yeah, we picked up on it was I forgot what floor it was on. I have it all written down in the field report, but it was with a full spectrum camera. And I was just taking random pictures down the hallway. And at the end of the hallway, it looked like there was two doors opened up, and in one photo you can see on one side where like it kind of looks like a nurse almost in like a nurse's outfit
Mhm.
like peeking over the doorway. On the other side it's just this like black figure kind of peeking out as well. And in the third photo you see both like images on each door, and in the back window it looks like there's a nun standing there. It's really weird.
Mhm.
So I don't know if it's just lighting or if there was like spots on the wall that maybe could create that. I have no clue. So I'm going to try to go back and see. I know one of our investigators that was there that night, he went back and did like a public event there. And I'm like, hey, when you go there, find that spot and just take a bunch of regular digital camera photos so we
Mhm.
can compare and see. And he did, and it didn't look like there was anything there. But full spectrum is going to pick up obviously different lights and stuff. So I'm really curious to check that out. So we'll see.
Was that in the same building that Nick Groff he said he seen a nurse when he was there, when he
Oh,
was on
It's possible.
Paranormal
Possible.
Lockdown, he was telling the owner about it when he was still on Ghost Adventures,
hmm.
and they
Interesting. Interesting. That's pretty cool.
And probably yeah, because I think Trans Allegheny is huge, and it's one building with like like long
Mhm.
wings. So my guess is it probably was the same building. I don't know if it's the same section of the building, but
Right.
probably the same building.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I'm not sure exactly what building it was in, but if you ever do catch a Paranormal Lockdown rerun where they went
Yeah,
to Allegheny.
yeah, I'm gonna go check that
Yeah,
out
we'll have to
before we
definitely
go
check that
back. We'll
out.
check
Yeah,
that out. So
definitely will.
Yeah, because Nick talks about his experience with that, where he swore he seen a nurse,
hmm, maybe we'll.
but,
Yeah, Nick's actually at the Paracon this weekend, so if we run into him tomorrow. Maybe
Oh, yeah,
we'll
we can
compare
try to ask
notes.
them.
yeah,
Yeah,
there
that's
you
pretty
go.
cool.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
him and Esther were both there this year at their Paracon.
Yeah, so, yeah, we got to check out their panel. So they have good insights on things. So that was a good one.
Oh, yeah. Were you guys able to do Gettysburg when you guys were out there in September?
I think we did some investigating. Not much, but we go there like 4 times a year, and we're always investigating sites there. We break the battlefield up. I think we have like almost close to 100 sites on the battlefield. Because when we're there, we want to make sure, if we're saying, Pickett's Charge, where at Pickett's Charge are you talking about?
Right.
Like, we look up a lot of different monuments, and that's kind of the section that we deem it. So it's easy to pinpoint if we capture evidence. This is where we captured it. Um, but yeah, I mean, we're always investigating Gettysburg. It's hit or miss. You capture
Yeah.
stuff some days, and there's other times you capture nothing. So it all depends. It sucks that the battlefield closes like 30 minutes after sundown now. They used to keep it
Yeah.
open at 10 p.m., which was awesome.
Yeah.
So, but even so, I mean, during the daytime, we still capture stuff. So it's pretty
Oh,
cool.
yeah, we did during the day. We were down on the bloody field down there,
Mhm.
hmm
and I was live on Facebook, and my one viewer, Carol Garcia, that follows the show, she was watching my live, and I had captured a figure on camera. I didn't see it at that time. I captured a Chinese man in Chinese armor,
Wow.
That's
battlefield,
awesome.
Yeah.
and we were up on a little round top, and we heard cannon fire.
We've
Seen
captured that actually on audio.
seen smoke go up over the trees, so we flagged Ranger down and asked him if they were doing any reenactments, and he says they're not allowed to on the battlefields.
Right. Right.
And I said, "Well, we heard a cannon go off." He says, "Oh, you heard that too?"
Oh wow.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I was like, "Yeah, and we seen the smoke go up over the trees just on the other side of Devil's Den."
Hmm.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, we probably years ago, I want to say like back in like 2010, we woke up really early and we got out in the battlefield on a little round top, and we were investigating. We hear what sounded like cannon fire, and one of the guys in the group was a Civil War reenactor, and I kind of turned to him and was like, "That's all you? Like, is that what that is? You know?" And he's like, "That's what it sounds like." And I'm like, "All right, that's cool." We caught it on audio, which is really awesome. So yeah.
Then on Little Round Top, where they got the general standing up on the rock,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I peeked down over the hill and they got that rock formation right there,
hmm
and I see a figure go like this and look at me, and he was in a gray uniform and then duck back.
Wow.
That's cool. Damn. Yeah, Gettysburg is one of our favorite spots we investigate. I
Yeah.
love going there. So
And the thing about Gettysburg, I mean, you got to remember, I mean, the battle was during the day, so you know everyone thinks you have to investigate at night, but
No,
you
you
know, for
don't, especially there, you don't have to.
exactly. So, usually we investigate at night because, one, that's when all of us are available. But there's really nothing to, a place like that, it shouldn't be more active at night. It should be more active during the day because at night, when during the battle, they were sleeping. So,
Yep. 'Cause I know in my one video, I was going through the audio on it, and I was walking Devil's Den, and you can actually hear boots marching with me and
hmm.
horses galloping.
Oh,
Oh, that's
wow.
pretty cool. Yeah, we caught that over at what is that? Cemetery Hill. We
Okay.
captured sounds like a horse almost galloping. Like it sounded like it was coming towards us, and then you could hear it going away from us, and there was nothing there. It was really cool experience.
There's my viewer, Carol, that spotted that in the video.
Hmm.
Nice.
And, I mean, yeah, Gettysburg was awesome. We're like I said, we're going back there, and we're gonna investigate some more of the battlefields that we didn't get to do the last time we were there in September. Did you guys go out to Reynolds Woods at all?
We've been up there, yeah. There's a few spots in that area. One of the crazy things about Gettysburg, I mean, as long as we've been going there, every time, pretty much every time we go now, we find a new site that we've never been to before. So as many as we have, we're constantly adding new sites that we never saw before, or like Mike said, like we're breaking down an area that we've concentrated on one area, but we're doing another part of that area. So like Reynolds Woods is one of those where there's a few sections right around there that we've gotten to go to and had some interesting experiences.
Were you able to capture, John on EVPs of John or anything out there?
Not yet. Trying to think what we captured. I have to check our files and see what we've actually captured over at Reynolds Woods. I'm sure we have, but no names came out or anything, so it's hard to tell like who it was, you know. But yeah, we've I don't think how many times we investigated, maybe 3 or 4 times, handful of times.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if you get him because I know he was killed there, and I'm
Hmm.
actually I'm actually related to him.
Oh
Oh
wow,
wow!
that's awesome! Wow, holy cow, that's
So,
pretty cool.
that's
So
why
that's
we're gonna go out there and try to see if I can communicate with him, see if my cousin will come forward.
yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, you're a walking trigger object at that point, so you use that to your advantage.
If you guys are available, you should come out with us. We'll be out there from July 8th to that Sunday.
That's cool. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see. I mean, well, I think we're gonna be in Trans Allegheny the weekend prior, I think. So, is that anytime to go back to Gettysburg, I'd
yeah.
love to go back.
Any
So,
excuse.
yeah.
Right? That's why we're going back. We missed out on the Warrens thing at the orphanage and with Annabelle and stuff. They got sold out quick, so we
Yeah.
figured we'd just go out and still see my family and then go investigate the battlefield some more.
That's, I mean, the one downside going to Gettysburg when there's like a big event going on is there's so many people there, so it's hard to
Oh, yeah.
invest because you're competing with so many people and you have so much noise pollution. So we actually try not to go during big events for that reason.
Yeah, we kinda separated from everybody that was touring the battlefields. We had a few that knew what we were up to and what we were doing. We had one group actually stop us. They
Hmm.
saw us pulling equipment out of the car, and we start off into the battlefield, and they sat there and waited till we came back.
Hmm.
And they were
That's
asking,
pretty.
"Did you guys capture anything out there?" I was like, "Don't know yet until we go through it," but
Yeah, same,
Yep.
same. We get that a lot. People passing by asking us, "Hey, did you capture anything?" I'm like, "I don't know. We'll find out when we do the audio analysis and everything." So,
but even hiking Devil's Den, I did a solo all the way around the bottom of it.
oh,
It
that's
gets
cool.
a little more intense down towards the bottom when you're down below that hill,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and you get back to those woods, and I was actually found some info and history about the woods back there that's where they used to send the soldiers in and out on a train car.
Huh.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
They had ripped out the train tracks and sent them over to France.
Hmm. Interesting.
So, and then those woods is where, them other soldiers were trying to ambush everybody on Little Round Top. They were
Yeah.
hiding out in those woods right there.
Hmm.
Uh, Carol had a question for you. Have any of you been to Letchworth Village in New York?
Yeah, I was just there back in last October. We were there. Me and one of my members went, and we just there during the daytime, and we hit a bunch of buildings up. It's crazy how easy it is. You just walk. I mean, the doors are ripped off. You just walk right in, and we got a bunch of audio clips when we were there. No personal experiences, anything like that. No equipment hits going off, but we did capture some EVPs, which was pretty cool. We're always definitely going to go back. It's not far from us. It's like an hour and a half away. So
Have you guys done anything in like Catskill, New York, like Liberty, New York, and
upstate Lake George, we usually go camping there every year. The past couple of years, we were doing Fort William Henry in Lake George and Lake George Battleground. Lake George Battleground, we've been investigating that for quite a while now. We've captured some really cool stuff there. It's hit or miss. Is sometimes you go there and you capture nothing, but there's been times where it was really intense, which is really cool. Fort William Henry, captured some really cool stuff there as well. It's always a good time. EVPs we've captured. We were doing a public event there. I want to say probably like 12 years ago, and we broke up into groups. So it was me, one of my investigators, a tour guide from Fort William Henry, and we had a mother and father and child with us, and we were in one of the rooms. I think it was in like the West Barracks, and we were just in there. We heard like a banging sound, like in the distance. So we were being quiet at the time, and all of a sudden, as we're being quiet, we hear this knock. It's like 7 times knock on the door, and we're like, "What the hell was that?" And it came from like a door that was like to a room that was padlocked. And I asked the tour guide, I'm like, "What's in that room?" And she's like, "That's where we keep all the reenactors' clothes." I'm like, "Open that door up." So she opens it up, and there was no one in there. It was wild, really cool. So
oh wow,
yeah,
yeah, we
That's pretty
used to go to Lake George also when I was a kid camping.
cool.
yeah, awesome place. I love going there.
So you had a bench picked up and dropped there
Oh,
too,
the
right?
bench, yeah. We had a bench move. That was pretty wild. The sound it sounded like it was like this giant wooden bench, super heavy. And we're just chilling in there, doing a session, and the bench moves, and the sound. I'll never forget the screeching sound that they made. And like one of the people like screamed because it was so loud. It like startled us. It was pretty cool. Yeah, we had that happen. At the campsite, um, if we were all camping, we were all passed out. It's like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. We heard what sounded like a gunshot go off in the campsite. Like if somebody had a shotgun and just pulled the trigger, like, right outside our tents, everyone woke up. It's pretty wild. We've heard, there was one night, it had to be like 2 o'clock in the morning. We heard cannon fire going off, like just like nonstop for almost like 15, 20 minutes. The next morning we got up and we go over to Fort William Henry and like, "Hey, were you guys like lighting off the cannon at like 2 o'clock in the morning?" They're like, "No." They're like, this thing was just going off nonstop. It was crazy. It's pretty cool.
Carol asked, "How about Thousand Islands in upstate New York?"
Thousand Islands. Can't say I've ever heard of it.
Yeah, it's up by Niagara Falls, right up by the
Oh,
Canadian border. So we haven't been up there.
Yeah, you guys had a same experience I had. There's a location that we do out here in Lawson, Missouri, and it's got a history of the Mormons being there, Mormon massacres, and Jesse
Hmm.
James has been through there.
Wow.
And you be out there all hours of the night, you'll hear it sound like cannons going off, gunfire. I asked the owner, I was like, "Is this something normal?" He says, "Yes, this happens every night. You just get used
that's
to it."
crazy. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Damn.
And his grandparents used to hide Jesse and his crew out there when they
Hmm.
be going through to their house isn't that far from their farmhouse where they grew up. So they passed through with Pinkertons chasing them. They'd hide out at his grandparents for a while, and then they'd head back home to Kearney, Missouri to see their mom.
Hmm. That's pretty
And
cool.
his farmhouse is highly active. It's extremely haunted. We actually
Yes.
got a picture there of Jesse James in the window.
Oh wow.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
and a cowboy hat showed up in the window just between two of us,
Hmm.
and the tour guide captured Jesse's mother staring out the window,
Wow.
and we figured there was a picture on the wall that was reflecting through, so that's why we went there to try to debunk it. There's no picture on the wall,
Hmm.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
but they didn't know we snuck some equipment in there when we went in there. The president of the board doesn't allow paranormal investigations of it because everything's still original. They don't want no flash photography. You can't even take pictures in there.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
We're standing there on tour, and my dad's with me. You guys met my dad that was at the Warrens Paracon with me. He taps me on the shoulder like this, and he goes, "Hey, look down behind you." And I look, and two rocking chairs are sitting there.
Hmm.
And I tapped my one friend. She's like, "Oh, you're kicking them." Nowhere near them. We get
Nice,
out
nice.
Jesse's grave, and this guy that had been following us through the whole tour because he knew what we were up to. He's from Louisiana, and he comes up. He says, "I've been watching rocking chairs the whole time. They were rocking on their own.
Hmm.
The kerosene
That,
lanterns were lighting that place on their own." And so, if you guys ever do get out to Missouri, definitely check out the Jesse James house.
definitely will, yeah,
Yeah. We'll
definitely.
add that to the list.
That'd be pretty cool.
That and Missouri State is would be another one you guys would love to do.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
We're getting ready to go there here in June. We're at the Get Haunted event. They're doing that book signing out there at Missouri State.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Nice.
So we'll be out there investigating. That place is kinda like Brushy Mountain, how Brushy Mountain and stuff is, and West Virginia State Penitentiary. I mean, it's bloody bloodiest 47 acres of Missouri. I captured a picture of Robert Burdella, the Kansas City butcher that was housed in Missouri State,
Oh wow.
and he was up there. His stuff is contrabands in the museum up in the old warden's house, and my dad shook hands with the mannequin, and we got looking at his arm, and it looked like someone had grabbed him like this by the arm.
Hmm.
Yeah, like 5 finger bruises.
Oh wow. Yeah. I mean, anytime you go to a prison, you never know. I mean, it wasn't nice people there. So you always got to you're taking a chance when you go to any kind of a
Fir
prison penitentiary.
First investigation there, I walked out, it looked like someone had taken a cigarette, stuck it in the inside of my arm.
Hmm.
Perfect brown bruise like a cigarette burn, and they used to have, inmates get slaughtered in front of guards there. The guards were only
Wow.
armed with a whistle and a billy club, that was it,
Hmm.
and it
That's
was
great.
one guard per cell block, so there was right by, death row, in between death row and solitary, there was a inmate that got stabbed right there by another inmate in front of a guard because he was a rat.
Hmm.
Cell house 4, a bunch of inmates, they were letting them out for breakfast, and a bunch of inmates broke in this guy's cell and stabbed his eyes out and then stabbed him a few times, and he managed to get out of his bed, crawl across the catwalk, and died right on the catwalk.
Oh wow. That's
So
where I'd be investigating if I went there.
oh, yeah,
Right now.
that's that's actually cell house 4 is one of the oldest parts of that prison because it's got the dungeon below it where they housed, JB the Firebug,
Hmm.
and he went blind down there because it's just pitch dark. The only light is in the hallway, and they'll let you experience that too. You can go in there and actually shut the door
Oh
and sit.
really?
Oh yeah,
They did that when we did West Virginia last year. They let us go into the cells, and they actually anyone who wanted to, they said if you want to go in the cell, go in the cell, and they actually
That's
pulled them
cool.
shut with us in there. And I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, even though it was just, you know, it was in a controlled environment like that, when
Mhm.
that door slams shut behind you and you know you can't get out, it hits home. I mean, you put yourself in that position, and you
Yep.
know, you think about that person who, you know, their first night in that jail, that door slams shut behind you, and that's your view for the next, you know, however many years you're still, you know, still around. It was pretty real. I got to say, I've never been, you know, locked in a jail cell before, so it was a pretty interesting experience.
Yeah, Missouri State, they'll let you they got some of the doors where you can actually shut them, but you can still get back out, but some of the other ones, you can't do it. They had a guy actually pull on them electronic cell doors, and he
Hmm.
got locked in, and he was locked in there for, like, 10 hours. They had to call a
Oh,
locksmith to get him out.
That's
Cost him
crazy.
$700
Damn.
to
well,
get him out.
we did Crescent Sanatorium a few years, and Crescent had, you know, they had, you know, it was partial sanatorium and partial prison. The prison area, they told us, you know, if you go into one of the cells, if you choose to lock that door and that door locks, we're not getting to you till morning. So good luck. So think about your your choice if you do that. So I think
Right?
everyone was very careful going
Yeah.
anywhere in or around those cells that night.
Well, that's like Waverly too, they lock you in for the night. They don't let you outside. Once you gotta grab everything of your stuff, and bring it in there. You're not allowed back outside until the investigation's over at 4 AM.
Nice.
Mhm.
So, they told us, "You better dig in because you're not going anywhere until 4 AM." So, they got a pretty cool challenge there too at Waverly. You slide in the morgue slab, and you gotta lay in there by yourself for 15 minutes.
I would do
And
that.
I'd give it a shot.
I would do it.
yeah, I did it. Most of the other teams all slid in feet first. I went in head first
Oh wow.
Nice. That's
just to get
awesome.
the experience what it would feel like to resemble a dead body, and I had my arms crossed like this, and I was just laying right in there. And they watch you on security camera. They got a camera pointed right at it to make sure you actually do it.
Huh.
Vince, the he used to be the tour guide there. You probably know Vince, urban explorer, urban investigator.
Mhm.
He's probably at Penhurst this year. He's usually at Penhurst every year. Vince, I can't really pronounce his name. It starts with a K.
Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah, we run into a few times at some of
Yeah,
these
he
events.
used to be the tour guide up there at Waverly. He was our tour guide when we went, and he said to me, he says, "Tell you what, go lay in that morgue slab for about 15 minutes by yourself. Leave your team out in the hallway." I was like, "Okay, I'll do it for 2 hours. Not gonna bother me. I'm kinda like the daredevil anyways of it." So, I did it. He watched on the there, and I lasted the whole 2 hours.
Wow, that's
Impressive.
awesome. That's awesome.
I don't know if my claustrophobia will let me do that.
Yeah, I think that's why most of the other ones went in feet first instead of head first because of the claustrophobia. Because I mean, it's directly right here in your face, that top part. But
Yeah, I was dry, so
I had a meter right here, and I had my millimeter with REM pod on my chest. They were both going off, and then we had a
oh,
boo bear sitting in the morgue on one of the embalming tables, and that thing was just sitting there just chatting away. One of
hmm.
those ones that talk,
Things you don't want to hear when you're trapped inside of a morgue slab.
right?
Yeah.
Boo bear going off.
I went through the audio from there, and when I was they were asking questions out in the hallway, and I was just staying quiet, and they asked, "What is he doing in that slab?" "He's dead," was the
Oh.
EVP we got.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's awesome.
The body shoot is another awesome. You go there, do that at, like, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm.
You
You can
gotta go
actually you can go into
all
it.
the way Oh, you can go all the way down to the bottom of it.
Oh wow.
Nice. That's
It
cool.
slopes all the way down. It's about 2 or 3 miles down.
Wow, that's
Oh,
great.
wow. Yeah.
You go down at the bottom down there and you start snapping pictures and see if you capture the black figure that comes down at you. It fills up the whole chute all the way and it keeps getting closer each picture you take.
Oh, wow. And
And then you hear the iron gate slam up top. Now that
hmm,
gate's rusted, it won't move.
hmm.
First floor is another good one. There's a man down there that's not very friendly. If you do a spirit box session, you're automatically guaranteed to get cussed at. He
That's
uh he will. He's not very friendly, especially if you got a skeptic on your group. So let them ask questions.
Nice.
Then he's really not friendly.
hmm.
He will.
That's cool.
He will. He'll cuss at you. The one guy that we got invited by, he was asking questions and that thing was nonstop on him. Called him every name in the book. So then this girl started asking questions and it called her a dumb bitch.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And then they asked, "Do you like Russell?" "No, he's an asshole." We
That's
start laughing about it. My team does, and they're trying to figure out what we're laughing about, and my team says, "That's just a running joke. That's all." He gets called that all the time because we do a lot of residential. So when you do a lot of residential, you're there with a purpose. You're there to get to the point why they're there, and some don't like that when your direct line of questioning's to the point.
Yeah.
right, right.
Do you guys do a lot of residential cases?
We do here and there. I mean, we take on, it's COVID killed us with residential. We were probably averaging, man, probably between 12 to 15 residential cases a year. COVID hit, and then after that, we're down to maybe, how many did we do so far this year? Three, maybe?
3 so far this
Three
year.
so
Yeah, I
far
think.
this year. So, um,
Yeah, they seem to be lax this year with the residential cases. There's not many coming in.
but
Carol asks, "Have you met the spirit of King in the boiler room at Penhurst yet?"
can't say. With the boiler room, I'm trying to think, is that in the Mayflower building or is that Devon?
Devin.
We've been to both. Trying to think. When I was
De-
in Devon, when I did Devon years ago, I did my solo on I think the second floor. It was pretty quiet for me. And then Mayflower, we did the basement of Mayflower. It was got a couple of minor things, nothing crazy. I don't know. I think it might be Devon building another boiler room.
If it's, I mean, so Devin in the basement. I mean, that's where I had my craziest experience at Penhurst. Um, so I know, so in the Devon building in the basement, there's the area that I guess is the popular area. I think that's where like
Candyland,
the
right?
Candyland is.
Okay.
The far end, the opposite end of the basement, that's actually where one of the tour guides told us. They said that was the one part that nobody that works there likes to go to. So I don't, maybe that's King, but when we were there, it was myself and another investigator. We were down at the end of a dark hallway, couldn't see your hand in front of your face. So I was just snapping some pictures because we were kind of feeling something, like it felt a little off, a little dark, you know. So
Mhm.
I was snapping pictures, and as I snapped the picture at the end of the hallway where there was a door, like a heavy metal door, I took the picture. It turned around, and a couple seconds later, I actually heard the sound of a door opening. So I turned around real quick, snapped another picture, and in that picture, when I went back and reviewed it later, that door went from being closed to open by about 5 or 6 inches, um, which that creeped me out alone. And so when I saw, actually sorry, I saw the photo, but we actually knew what happened at the time, so we went to go investigate to see what was going on. There was nothing on the other side of that door. It was completely empty. I think it was just like a storage closet with nothing in it.
Right.
There was no wind down there, so nothing that could have pushed that door open. So it wasn't until later when I was reviewing my photos, I saw that I had caught the door opening, and when I showed it to Mike, he actually pointed out that in the crack of the door, there was clearly a face peeking through the crack of the door and what looks like a white lab coat, so like a doctor peering through the crack of that door.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have that photo on my phone. That's one of my favorite photos to share, especially when we're here. But that was one of my craziest experiences ever, and definitely here.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we've got, Glore Psychiatric Museum out here in St. Joe that's extremely haunted, and you go in there, they've got mannequins in there that'll turn their heads on their own,
Oh,
Oh, the hell with that.
yeah, no.
and you go down to the tunnel, you'll hear somebody walking with you in the tunnel when you go down in
Mm.
there. They got a tunnel that would go to the children's section of Glore, but they actually blocked it off because they have an active working prison right next to the old children's psychiatric ward,
Mm.
and we took a tour down there, and we were messing with the tour guide. She stayed up top. She wouldn't go down to the bottom. My dad, smart ass that he is, he goes, "I'm gonna levitate and go right through this wall." And she goes, "If he does that, I quit." So he hid behind me, and we're walking back up the tunnel, and she's looking. She's like, "Where is he?" I said, "He went through the wall." And as we're walking up, we hear footsteps following us.
Hmm.
And we get up to the top, and he steps out. She's like, "I thought I was gonna have to quit." I said, "Well, something was following us up the tunnel." She says, "Don't tell me that. I come in here in the dark." I said, "You won't now."
Yeah.
Nice.
And we had a friend of ours with us. She walked out with a scratch down her face.
Hmm.
Get in the vehicle, and they have one of those GMCs where if you got the key fob, you take your foot under the bumper and it opens the hatchback.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
all in
Mhm.
the car getting ready to leave, and the hatchback comes open.
Oh, the
Oh,
hell with
wow.
that. Nope. Nice.
Then we got the McIntyre Villa. That's another good one if you guys are ever head to Kansas. That's another good one to check out. 1889 McIntyre. That's actually right up the road from the Sally House.
Okay.
Heard of that. Heard of that place.
And then the LeBold Mansion's another good one in Atchison.
Nice.
And then we have the Beatty Mansion is another good one too out here. That's extremely haunted. A lot of teams go there. That's been on TV several times. Dick and Katrina were there, and I think it's been on several other paranormal shows.
Sounds like we need to make our way down to Missouri.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
there's a lot out here because we have our Civil War history too out here.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We got battlefields and stuff like that that are extremely haunted. The veteran cemeteries down there in Lexington, Missouri, that's haunted. We've got the Mormon massacre sites like Hans Mill, which I've done several times, and
No, that's cool.
that's a pretty act. It that place is hit and miss, but if you go on the night of the anniversary of the massacre, you're guaranteed to get evidence.
There you go. Yeah,
Wow.
that's awesome. That's cool.
Which the massacre happened the night before Halloween. It happened that day before Halloween is when the
Oh,
massacre
wow.
happened. Militia rode in and just started slaughtering the Mormons because they were taking over Missouri and they were afraid they were going to start a war.
Hmm.
So they ran into Hans Mill and they didn't even reason with them. They just started shooting. They killed about 17 of them and threw them down the shallow well on the property.
Hmm.
They didn't care
Wow.
what age. They even slaughtered the kids too. There was a 10-year-old boy hiding in the blacksmith shop under the stove, and two militia guys walked in, and the one guy pulled his pistol out, put it to the kid's head. The kid was only 10 years old, and the other guy says, "He's only a kid." He says he'll grow up to be another Mormon, and blew the top of his head off.
Wow, that's crazy. Damn.
That's some bad energy.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah, and
crazy.
kids go down used to go down there when I first moved to Missouri. They didn't have it cleaned up and fenced off the way it is now. Kids would go down there and bring Ouija boards down there and do all sorts of stuff. And the 3rd time I went there, the energy actually changed. It wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine with me, and we both seen this short little figure, dark figure, peek around a tree at us. The EMF detector just stayed red for
Hmm.
the whole night, and we got back to the car. I said some prayers with her because I mean, she was scared, and I said, "Just stay behind me." And we got to the car, held the detector out the window, and it followed us all the way up to the main road,
Oh wow.
and then it went back to normal.
Hmm.
The night of the massacre that we were there, it was like we were surrounded. There's tree stumps, and we had motion activated lights on tree stumps, and I was holding my millimeter and had the REM pod active. The REM pod was going nuts, and the millimeter shot up to, like, a point 0.9,
Oh wow.
and it's an open field, there's no electricity down there.
Right, right. That's pretty cool.
We had a new person with us that's never been on an investigation before, and my other new member turned around and looked, and he's standing there, and there's a figure, probably about 6 foot tall, standing behind her, and I didn't tell her because I knew she freaked, and then she happened to turn around, and she just immediately got scared, started crying, and so we start walking back because it's October, it gets cold here in Missouri too, like New York does, and we're walking back with that new girl and my one new investigator, and we hear somebody whistle at us.
Hmm.
And we both turn around and look, and she's like, "Don't turn around and look. That's how a horror movie starts."
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, "We're investigators. That's what we do. We're gonna look for that sound."
Right, right.
Hmm.
But Carol said I did an Estes session in the men's shower and was sitting on the floor. Have pictures that looked like a rat was sitting on my shoulder at Penhurst.
Huh.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Hmm.
Hey, Tracy, welcome in. She asked where you guys are from.
You know, from Long Island. That's where we're from. Long Island, New York.
I got a buddy that lives out in Long Island. Tony Coco. He's my old hunting buddy.
Nice. What town?
I don't remember where it's from. I know he's out more towards the country. There's a little bit of country out there in Long Island.
Probably out
Yeah,
on the
probably
east
out
end.
east. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably out east. Yeah,
He's out in that area out in there.
that's cool.
There's not a
Tracy,
lot of country, not a lot of country left on Long Island, but a little bit out east.
Oh,
Tracy's
Mineola.
from Mineola. Yeah.
Nice. And we're based out of Selden, so
okay.
yep, very cool.
I've been to Long Island. I've been all over New York until I moved in 2012. That's where my group started was New York State.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, it started in 2006, but I've been investigating paranormal since I was 13. So,
Wow.
and it it's a pretty active place, New York. I mean, we've done we've done the. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Grosinger Resort in New York, the old Borscht Belt hotels back in.
Oh yeah, yeah, up in the Catskills.
Yep, we. I used to work at Grosinger, the golf course there when it was still open, and the hotel was abandoned, and we had permission to go in there. So my dad and I went in there investigating and just doing urban exploring pictures and stuff like that. And he says, "Yeah, go in there and explore. If you see some homeless people, run them out of there because we don't want them in there." I mean, you get up on that 20th floor, you can see straight down one part clear to the basement. It's like a big black hole.
Oh wow,
Wow.
that's really nice.
And he was coming one end of the hallway, I was coming the other end of the hallway. We both seen one of the room doors fly open with force and then slam shut.
Hmm.
So I was like, there's got to be a homeless guy in here. Open that door to that room. This is the 16th floor. So there's no jumping out a window. The bed you can't get underneath.
Right.
And So he's confined anywhere he goes in that room, there was nothing.
Hmm.
Get down in the boiler room, there's a tunnel that goes in between the buildings. We both see a black figure run down the tunnel, so I said to my dad, I said, "Circle around the outside, I'm gonna go through the tunnel after it." The thing got outside, got in between us, went under the basement of an old house that was falling down, and you couldn't get down in the basement, and that all
Hmm.
happened in broad daylight,
Oh
Wow,
wow.
that's pretty cool. Nice.
and Gracie says I've investigated the old Westbury Gardens mansion way back. That
That's
was
awesome. I've heard about that place. I've never been there though. We've sent them proposals in the past. We've never heard anything back. That's pretty cool that that you were in there. That's awesome. Very cool.
yeah, I've noticed that with some places you put in to get permission and you never hear nothing back, and I think
Yeah.
a lot of it gets ruined by other teams and even, like, these abandoned places too that are haunted. They break in
Yep.
there, they vandalize it, and then it ruins it for us.
Yeah, it's like
Mhm.
Kings Park Psych Center by us. It's a shame because the place has so much potential, but it's like a lost cause at this point. St. Charles Cemetery. Um, is
What's
that
that?
Farmingdale? It's in Farmingdale, I think. I've never done St. Charles Cemetery.
There you go. So we
Yeah,
probably never will then.
yeah. I'm can't tell you never will.
Yeah, it's true.
Just get in there
Yeah, we tried
hours.
to get
Not supposed to.
we tried to get into an abandoned poor farm that's up here in northern Missouri, and the city owns it. I called the city and talked to them about it, and they said, "No, we're not letting anybody in because kids had broken in there and vandalized the place." And
Yeah,
he says, "I do appreciate you calling and asking." I said, "We would never trespass. That's why I'm calling you to ask you permission."
right,
Hmm.
right.
And I said, "I know we deal with a lot of that. The kids breaking in. Grossinger's was the same way. They break in there and spray paint it.
Yep, yep.
We see the phantom tag all over the place, those abandoned buildings, and I've
Mhm.
noticed they travel. They're not just in New York. They travel. I've seen it in other videos and stuff that they've traveled to other places and tagged it.
Hmm. It ruins it for the rest of us.
Yep.
Yep, it sure does.
Exactly.
Craigie Clare Castle in Roscoe, New York is another haunted location, and people break in there too. They park down at the bottom and walk up the hill where the caretaker won't see them. And I think it's got a new caretaker now that will allow, because I know they're doing tours there now. They'll take bus trips up
Hmm.
Oh
through
wow,
there. So if you guys are ever in that neck of the woods, check out Craigie Clare Castle in Roscoe, New York.
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
The story behind that, the wife, he built it for his wife. She wanted a castle. Well, she ended up getting sick and she went mentally deranged. He locked her in one of the rooms and chained her to the radiator. And I guess her finger marks where she was clawing at the door to get out were
Hmm.
still engraved in the wood.
Oh wow,
Hmm.
that's crazy. Wow.
And that's where she died. He kinda starved her to death
Well,
because
Yep.
he couldn't take the sight of her, and he couldn't handle her. He didn't wanna check her into a mental institution, so he just chained her to the radiator, and that's where he kept her in her room for the rest of her life. I think she died in her I think she was only in her early 30s.
oh wow.
She passed away.
Oh,
St.
there
Charles,
it seems so.
This page. Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
most of her family is buried in there.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Her dad
Oh,
was
yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
that name might sound familiar to
Amityville
you.
House. Yeah.
Yep,
Bill Hart.
yep, the old Amityville. They, I heard now they changed the style of the house. I seen pictures of it. They remodeled it.
completely.
Oh,
They
yeah.
remodeled it. They actually
Changed the
rotated it
address, right?
on the foundation, so it's not even facing the same way it was back then. So they've changed the address. Obviously, people still know where it is,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
but they don't
They
mess around. They'll kick, the cops will kick you out of there real quick. Like, during
they
Halloween, they
uh,
actually closed off the streets there, so people can't
oh,
even
wow.
go checking it out during Halloween.
I saw they even blocked the image on Google Images too.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah, on the
really?
Google Maps, yeah, the house is blocked out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, by all accounts, nothing paranormal happens there anymore. Now it's just they're like
Yeah.
Tracy just said, they're trying to keep the crazies away. They're
Yep.
not worried about paranormal stuff anymore. They're worried about people trying to sneak in onto their property and take pictures and do God knows what else. So that's the
Yeah,
real haunting these days.
yeah, that's all you need is one to get on there and do, like, a demonic ritual or something like that on the property, and then all hell breaks loose again.
Mhm.
And, yeah, I hate when people do that. They wanna stir it back up again, and then people get stuck dealing with it again.
Yeah.
No, I
That's
had
true.
Dave Schrader on my show when he did that TV show for Hans Holzer, the Holzer
Oh,
Files.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
We were talking about Amityville. I asked him if he was able to get there, and they got a no filming clause also when you buy the house. You
Hmm.
cannot have a film crew in there
Wow. I didn't know that. Yeah.
because
Yeah,
they want
I think the town wants no part of it. Like, they don't. That's what they're known for, and I think they want to lose the reputation. I mean, it's a hard
right,
reputation to lose, but I don't think they want to do anything that's going to exasperate it at this
right.
point.
Yeah.
I just watched a documentary on that with a psychic when Ronnie DeFeo was still alive, and he was telling her where he buried this stuff and all kinds of stuff. She actually was able to find everything that he told,
That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
and it was her, a psychic, and a paranormal investigator, and they went out all over Amityville, Long Island, there looking for it to get
Wow.
Ronnie
That's pretty.
to find 'em.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
And Ronnie was saying that he killed his parents, but his sister's the one that actually killed her sibling.
Huh.
He wasn't supposed to kill them, they were only supposed to kill the mom and dad, and that was it. And when Ronnie got back, he found his siblings, brother and sister, dead. So that he got in a struggle with his sister there, and he ended up shooting her.
Hmm.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
And he swears that he was possessed by the devil that made him do it. And
Yeah.
they said that he was also in the drugs and he was in the dark satanic stuff that they found a satanic shrine in the closet. Tracy says down the road from the house, about a quarter mile, is an Indian burial ground.
Where is that from? From the
From
From
Amityville?
Amityville House?
Hmm.
Yep, for
For
burial mound.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Really?
Well, that's
I
what they
will.
say that the Amityville house is built over an Indian burial ground.
I mean, when it comes down to it, Long Island is built on an Indian
Oh, yeah.
burial ground. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the island was Native American. I mean, a lot of the towns, and there's actually still a Native American tribe that lives in the Shinnecock's out east on Long Island. So that's probably true, but you could also probably say that by about 90-95% of the island is Indian burial ground. So
Yep,
yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's there's anything there to it. It just means that they were there first.
Right.
right. Like Missouri too, same thing. They've got the Osage Indians. They've got burial grounds. Even like where I live here, northern Missouri, Chillicothe, Missouri, they say is that town is built over Indian burial grounds. And our very first dark demonic case was in that town
Hmm.
that we had to deal with, and that was a partial possession case, and it was a bad one. We got to watch an upside down cross get scratched in the
Oh,
client in
wow.
there,
That's pretty wild. How
and
do you guys How do you guys deal with demonic cases?
Uh, we'll go in, verify it. If it's something like a partial, we're able to handle it. We do cleansings and stuff on houses. We do a lot of religious cleansings and holy water, and we don't use sage because sage doesn't work on your dark demonic stuff.
Mhm.
They've found their way to amp up against it. They'll go lay in dormant until you leave, and that stuff clears,
Right.
and they're back at it again. And if it gets too bad, we're connected with clergy and stuff like
Okay.
that in the
Nice.
diocese office. Sister Farrah Rose Perry, which was Sister Farrah Rose Deal, her and her late husband Kenneth, they're 40 plus years practicing demonologists.
Nice. Wow.
Farrah works for the diocese office in Springfield and mentors me. And you guys met Father Bob. Father Bob's her spiritual director.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Father
That's
Bob's
cool.
one of my mentors as well with it. So
Nice. Nice. Very cool.
so I study under both of them, and so I know how to handle stuff. So we're kind of like their boots on the ground verification for them, but
Oh,
they're very
awesome.
rare. Demonic's very rare in a lot of houses.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we get a lot of house investigations. People claiming, it's always after Hollywood puts out a movie or something, and it's like, here we
Yep.
go again. And
Yep.
it's like, man, you don't want that in your house. Stop. It's
Yeah.
like, come on.
And
But
that demon word gets thrown around quite a bit.
Way too much.
way too much. Way,
And
way too much. Yeah.
YouTube, especially, they throw it
Oh,
around like
yeah.
for their views and entertainment. I was like, what are you guys gonna do if you actually came across the real one?
Exactly. Like that's the thing. Like, I mean, and with us with the house investigation, we have a pretty strict way we do things with house investigations to kind of weed out the people that just want you for entertainment for the night. And if it's like a demonic case, it's like a whole different ballgame. We have our regular questionnaire is like 50 questions that they got to fill out and verify, and then if it's demonic, it's like a whole nother ballgame. Like
Yeah,
now, I want if you're claiming demonic activity and if you're claiming possession, I want go get a psyche eval because if you can't produce that, then you're not serious. And then
yeah,
that's I think one of the biggest issues is right now that I'm coming across in the field is people that are claiming, paranormal activity, whether it be demonic or just regular activity, but they have a mental illness. How do you
yeah,
differentiate the difference between them having, a mental illness, versus what's really occurring in the house? So it's that's one of the biggest struggles I think the field is having right now, in determining that because it's like it's almost like the field says if you have a mental illness, you can't have a paranormal experience, and that's crazy to say that.
right.
It's
Exactly.
impossible. But, it's
We
tough.
deal with
Very
that
tough.
too quite a bit, doing residential,
Sure.
even out here with a lot of mental illness. I mean, we've
Yeah.
done cases where people have been diagnosed schizophrenic,
Yep. Same.
and I do a lot of background checking. So I'm checking backgrounds on clients to see what they've done in their past, if they've got a history of alcohol, drugs,
Yep.
violence. So we know what we're walking into and what we're up against. And we have forms just like you guys do that they fill
Right.
out questionnaires and confidentiality agreements. And
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Same. Same. Yeah, we fill all that stuff out. So yeah.
and
It's good.
a lot of our calls we get, oh, it's something demonic when we go out there and it's just a regular spirit just raising
Yep.
hell. I
Yeah.
try to
Exactly.
tell them that if it's a former owner of the house, to that former owner, you're trespassing. You're in
Right.
their
Right.
s they're not gonna like you invading their space, they're being protective of their home. To them, you're a burglar. What are you
Hmm.
gonna wanna do if somebody breaks in your house? You're gonna wanna hurt them
Yep.
because
Yeah.
you're fearing for your life. They're reenacting what they were when they were alive, that's their house. But people go in there and they throw the D word around, or they go in there and then they stir it up and they leave.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
we've done several cases involving that where they go in, they stir it up, they leave, and then they call us to come clean the mess up because now it's amped up and it's even more angry and pissed off.
Right. So that's the thing that, you got to remember. If if you're a paranormal team, you're going in there for one night or a couple of you're leaving at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Whereas that family's still got to be there. So if
Yep,
you're not leaving them in a good place, and a lot of times they do, they leave them in a worse place than they were before, and that's not the right way to do it.
exactly.
Wow, that's cool. I'm sure South Carolina is probably loaded with places.
Oh, yeah, is we've got a cold spotters team in North Carolina
Nice.
that
What part
we,
of North Carolina?
I think they moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, I believe.
How far are you from there?
About 2 hours.
2 hours. Nice.
Yeah, if you, look up, Tammy and Raymond, they're cold spotters, North Carolina. They just actually moved there and formed the North Carolina team.
Nice.
Cold spotters has got teams all over the place. To be part of Cold Spotters, you gotta be a legit team. Amanda Quill don't just take anybody in there, so we've been with them for almost 5 years now,
Nice.
Hmm.
Nice.
and they've got teams internationally too, so
That's cool.
Yeah.
and, she's the mother team of that is up in British Columbia, Canada.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
okay.
We just got an invite to go up to Vancouver to investigate up there
Oh, that's
Oh, that's
awesome.
cool.
with, that Cold Spotters team, and they're actually filming a TV show right now.
Hmm.
And then she's got connections with, Rob Dermerest from Ghost Hunters International,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Nice.
which Rob and I have been friends over 20 years already. He's the one that actually helped me get my group started.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Nice.
I used to be a DJ back then. That it's a funny story how we met. I used to be a DJ back in the day, and he was still with GHI, and he was like, "Hey, can you make me a mixtape?" I was like, "Yeah, I can make you one." He says, "For doing that, I'll help you get started in the paranormal field." So he helped form a group.
That's cool. That's awesome.
That's a fair
Nice.
trade.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and he still got that mixtape to this day, I
Nice.
know, and that's gotta be I think I made that that's probably a good 20, 25 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
That Yeah, Tracy, we'll get a hold of you because we travel all over the place. We travel all over the country investigating residential. We don't just
Nice.
stay in Missouri. We've done stuff in Oklahoma, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky.
Well, yeah, you do go all over.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
we do.
We stick to the tri-state area. We did what was it, 2 years ago? We had a case in Jersey that we did. That was pretty cool. I love doing out-of-state house investigations. We make like a whole weekend out of it.
Yeah.
We go up Friday, we investigate the house Friday. Saturday, we go back to the room, do the analysis, and then Sunday we do the review, and then we go home. So it's always a fun time, though.
Yeah, we do a lot of out of state. We've been to Kansas. We've done one on the Trail of Tears in Oklahoma.
Oh,
Nice.
We got called down there to a house, and the guy was doing demonic worshiping in his house.
Oh shit! Wow, that's
And
crazy.
he did conjure up. He brought in a demon in that house,
Yeah.
and his mom had called us because of the two grandkids. One was 9 and one was 10, and then he had a 19-year-old daughter living there.
Right.
We dropped everything, being there was kids involved, that takes first priority
Mhm.
for us, and the rest of my team couldn't make it, so my dad and I went down there, and I was investigating solo, but when I do, I stay in camera view the whole time. My dad watches our cameras, and So he can see me at all times, and he knows if something's going on that, "Hey, I need to get back there." So, about 1 o this was probably about 1 o'clock in the morning, I stopped to take a break, just sit and let the cameras do their thing and start watching the cameras, and the one camera in the hallway is just sitting there pulsating. I
Hmm.
figured static issue, maybe because of they're hardwired cameras, and it just started getting worse. And then all of a sudden, this black figure, probably about 6 foot tall, appears in the hallway in front of the
Hmm.
camera.
Oh wow.
So I said to my dad, I said, "Keep an eye on it. I'm gonna go back there and check it out." I walk back there, and I'm standing there looking at this black figure in this hallway, and it's staring at me, and then all of a sudden it drops down to 5 feet tall and runs directly at me.
Wow, that's crazy.
Disappears into my legs, and I'm hanging on my blessed Saint Benedict's medal because I could feel what it was. You could feel it was
Mhm.
demonic. And then I ended up with 3 razor blade scratches right down my arm,
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
and I still got the scars from it.
Wow.
And I stood my ground, but it was its warning, like, "Hey, you keep it up, and I'm gonna hurt you." But I didn't back down, and I stood my ground, and I got rid of it.
Glad you're here to tell the tale.
Yeah, I got rid of it. I cleansed the house, and his mom came in, and all his demonic stuff, she got rid of it. She burned it,
Hmm.
and while she was burning it, I threw some blessed salt into the fire of it, and he wouldn't take our cleansing. His girlfriend did, but and the kids, but he wouldn't. He says, "It's against my religion."
Hmm.
And shortly after, he reverted back to his old ways, and going down the road with his girlfriend, he was arguing with her, and he said his eyes changed and turned black. He tried to grab her by the neck and strangle her. She jumped out of the moving vehicle at 70 miles an hour
Yeah.
Oh my god.
to get away from him, and then she never went back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
I
god.
don't blame her.
And I told his mom, I was like, "Take those kids out of there. Let them go live with you."
Hmm.
And that's what she did. He wanted us gone. He didn't want us there. He kept telling his girlfriend, "Get him out of there. I don't want him at my house."
Yeah.
And she says, "I can't. Your mom's the one that asked him to come. She signed the paperwork, and his mom's the one that owns the property."
Hmm.
So, and we never did go back. I found that out, and I was like, "He's a lost cause. We can't help him.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
Right.
following instructions. We can't help him anymore." And the rest of them all been pretty much like regular spirits. There was only 2 demonic cases that actually, I take that back, there was 3. There was another one, a guy was messing around. He didn't know what he was doing. He was messing around with witchcraft and on the computer researching the occult and all kinds of stuff, and he was doing these rituals in his house. Well, he conjured up 3 demonic entities in his home,
Oh,
and he sent me a picture. He captured a literal hellhound on his outside camera
oh wow.
in his backyard coming up to his door, and his yard is fenced in, so there's no dog that can get in the backyard.
Yeah.
And one night, something was bothering him, and him and his wife slept in 2 separate beds. He walked in, he threw a whole bunch of salt on his wife,
Hmm.
and we went out there, and we were running a spirit box, and we were getting Latin chanting, talking religious church music, and laughing at us.
That's crazy.
Ugh. Yeah.
And I sent the audio over to Farrah, and Farrah was like, "Destroy that.
Hmm.
You don't need to be playing that. Destroy it." Farrah interpreted what it said and like, "Nope, get rid of it."
Wow, that's crazy.
And it was that was a we got rid of it that first night, those 3, we got rid of them out of there. and he changed his ways. He started going to church, and he's practicing religion now, so he's good. And there was
That's good.
another one that we did that was another pretty bad one that was demonic too, and it was that one took a couple days to get rid of. We had to go back quite a few times to get rid of, and we managed to get rid of that one for that client, and they've changed their ways too. They go to church and everything. But our very first one took about 6 months to get rid of.
Wow.
Damn, that's pretty crazy.
It drained us for about 2 weeks straight. When you deal
I
with that
believe it.
stuff, that darker stuff, it does. It's true what Lorraine says, it takes a little piece out of you each time. It does.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And the Archbishop told me when you deal with the demonic, they got your wanted poster in hell.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I've heard that. I've definitely heard that.
And I know they got a picture of me down there.
You know,
Well,
once you become aware of them, they become equally as aware of you. So
oh yeah, and especially they know who you are. They know when you're going out to a house, and they know your age, they know your birth date, they know what kind of car you drive, who your family is. I had a film producer send me a clip. They were filming a TV show, and across the spirit box said his daughter's name.
Oh wow,
His daughter's
that's great.
never been at the location, and he says, "Do you think that's something demonic?" I said, "If it knows your daughter's whole name, then it is." I said, "That's your
Yep.
warning. You're playing around with something you shouldn't be playing around with," and he cussed at it, and I was like, "That's the wrong thing to do. That's just provoking
Yeah,
it."
definitely, definitely.
Tracy said had a friend walking into her house with her little one the other day, and they both got tossed right back out the door.
that's not
Wow,
good.
that's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, Tracy, get a hold of us or get a hold of them, one or the other, especially with a little one like that.
Yeah, I'll mess around with that.
Yeah, we just got called, which I just passed over to my buddy that's down near them in St. Louis. A couple moved into a house, and the house they lived in before was haunted, and something followed them, and something dark followed her husband. Come to find out, he played with Ouija board when he was a kid,
Hmm.
and he's got medical issues, and he's never had them since they till they moved in that first house, and now he's feeling like things are choking him. So my buddy went out because he's closer than I am to them. He went out there to check it out. Yeah, Tracy, get a hold of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
See what we can do. Get out there to help for sure. Well,
Yeah.
I know you guys are tired. You guys got a long weekend ahead of you.
Yeah, that we're also about to get kicked out of the conference room we're using. So we're
If people want to get a hold of you guys to book you for paracons or investigations, how can they get a hold of you guys?
our website, www.liparanormalinvestigators.com. Can't say that. Or you can email either one of us. He's Mike at liparanormalinvestigators.com. I'm Tom at liparanormalinvestigators.com. That's the best way to reach us. So, yeah,
Right.
we'd love to help anyone
Sure.
who needs it.
Yeah, guys, definitely check them out. Check out their booth at Paracon this weekend. Make sure you stop by and say hello. Tell them you seen them on the
Absolutely.
podcast.
Nice.
Yeah,
So,
we'd love to join you in the future. So
yeah,
anytime you
definitely.
want to chat, we're happy
Yeah,
to.
yeah, definitely. We definitely come team up with you guys and go on some investigations with you.
That'd be cool.
Sounds good.
So I thank you guys for coming on the show tonight, and
No problem.
you
No
guys
Thanks for
problem.
having us.
have a safe trip back to Long Island after the Paracon.
We'll do. We'll do.
Tell Nick Groff when you talk to him that Russell says hi. He knows.
We'll
He
do.
knows.
We'll say that.
He follows
We
us.
nice.
So, all right, guys, it was good having you on. I'd definitely like to do a part two. We'll get you back on again.
Good. That'd be awesome. Definitely.
Anytime.
Yeah, I'm booked all the way till June 7th. Anytime after June 7th, I got openings. So,
Cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll set something up.
yep, just reach out to me.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, guys, thanks for coming on
Thank
tonight.
you.
No problem. Awesome.
Talk to you
And
soon.
yep, well, take care, guys.
You got it. Have a good one.
Good night.
Thank you guys for joining me tonight. I've got to get off here. Scheduled to be on a show at 9 o'clock at TikTok, so I'm running a little behind. So feel free to jump over there and come talk with me over there, BLPRMO on TikTok, and we are going to be talking about a serious issue that's going on in the paranormal field right now. So stay tuned and join me over there on TikTok with several other teams, and we will see you all next week. Same time, same channel. My guest next week is Nick Grossman, paranormal investigator, cryptid investigator, and psychic. And he will be my guest next Saturday. We will see you all next Saturday night. Same time, same channel. Stay safe, stay humble. God bless everyone, and see you next week.